Good day everyone. In this video, we're going to look back our Philippine history. And with that, I'm going to introduce to you a well-known individual during the American regime who possessed a strong will not only in battling but also in improving our Philippine literature. And no other than Carlos Piña Romulo. He was born on January 14, 1899 in Camiling, Tarlac and studied in Camiling Central Elementary School during his basic education, and Manila High School in secondary, then pursued to University of the Philippines 1918 and Columbia University in 1921. He is a journalist that wrote a series of articles about Japanese imperialism. His skills at using words made Romulo the logical choice to become the voice of freedom. He has been named as one of the Philippine national artists in literature and was a recipient of many other honors and honorary degrees. He is also a Filipino diplomat, statesman, soldier, and author. He was a reporter at the age of 16, a newspaper editor by 20, and a publisher at 32. He was a co-founder of the Boy Scout of the Philippines, a general in U.S. Army and the Philippine Army, university president, and president of the United Nations General Assembly. One of his works is The Last Man of Bataan that was published in the World Distributor Books in 1959. These books made Romulo winning a prize called Pulitzer Prize, and it contains 255 pages. The Battle of Bataan was the most intense phase of the Imperial Japan invasion of the Philippines during World War II. The commander-in-chief of all Filipino-American forces in the Philippines, General Douglas MacArthur, consolidated his units all over Luzon to Bataan and Peninsula to fight the Japanese invaders. Despite an almost complete lack of supplies and materials, Filipino-American forces managed to fight the Japanese army for 3 months and 2 days standstill. On April 9, 1942, Bataan fell into the hand of the Japanese. The surrender after the fall of Bataan was the largest in American and Filipino military history. Soon afterwards, Filipino and American prisoners of war were forced into the Bataan that March. The late General Carlos P. Romulo risked his life in the Battle of Bataan, which highlighted human endurance and heroism. He was the last man out of Bataan. Before he escaped, he spent 4 months in the foxhole of Bataan and the turret tunnel of Corregidor. He was sent away because the Japanese set a price on his head. His escape was due to solely to ingenuity of an air crew who patched up the makeshift Navy amphibian and flew him through Japanese bullets to safety. Romulo's adventure in the plane began with his frantic dash from Corregidor to Bataan Airfield, where he was found order from Corregidor sending him in the Cabcabin Airfield. He was ordered to go to Cabcabin Airfield and asked for Lieutenant Barnick to facilitate his escape. If he was still alive, he would arrange the plane for Romulo's escape. Enemy planes were droning overhead and shells and bombs were crashing down on Cabcabin Airfields when they arrived. For 2 days and nights, Lieutenant Barnick and his crew had been working steadily in ship, hoping out of the salvage remains of the old G2F planes to make it fly so that it will be used for Colonel Romulo's safety. Then the Japanese searchlight hit them. The white lines wheeled over the dark sky and finally pinned them in a cross of blinding lights. The Japanese guns began roaring down below. A couple of bullets ripped through the side of the plane. Their plane was hit, the reason why they could not get any altitude. The G2F plane crawled along about 20 feet above the water. They threw out all the extra weight, even their pistol and parachutes. The loss of their baggage seems to give the old duck a new lease of life. It sort of soared 50 feet. The minute and the hour passed, and they were still flying. They were all awake and trying to peer down through the clouds to see what lay below. Their enemies were there ahead of them. Lieutenant Barney called his attention that their plane was about out of gas. Colonel Romulo reached his dispatch case that he refused to throw overboard and drag out a map that few people have ever seen except General Wainwright and General MacArthur. It was a map of the circuit airfield of the Philippines. An hour later, they came down at dawn on another airfield in Iloilo. The tank of the plane was almost dry. It seems that there were no thought of war in the Iloilo. There was a little restaurant here in the airport where they stumbled into it and had breakfast. Then after they finished breakfast, they found themselves standing on the airfield listening to a radio. It came from the Voice of Freedom from the tunnel on Corregidor. He knew that the voice was Third Lieutenant Norman Reyes, one of his assistants speaking. Bataan has fallen, but the spirit that makes it stand, a beacon to all liberty-loving people of the world, cannot fall. According to Conrado O. Benitez, Colonel Carlos P. Romulo survived the Second World War. General Douglas MacArthur promoted him to Brigadier General after successfully returning to the Philippines. For his heroism during the war, he received 6 military decorations. One of them is Philippines Congressional Medal of Honor. He was with General MacArthur and President Sergio Osmeña when the American Liberation Forces landed in Palo Leyte on October 20, 1944. After the war, he worked for the Philippine government for more than 50 years. Among the positions he held are the Philippines Ambassador or Chief of Mission of the United Nations, President of the University of the Philippines, Secretary of Education, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He showed his best as a diplomat and was internationally admired. And that was the life of Colonel Carlos Piña Romulo, a great man that made us Filipino proud of our heritage.